What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio, transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho, wherever the hell I am. I am the one-armed madman. And with me, he's fucking with his computer. We're all out of shit tonight. It's Nolan 5150. What's up, dude?
Hey, man, just trying to adjust to this daylight savings time. You know,
It has to go.
I love it. Well, yeah, one way or the other. I enjoy having more daylight later in the day. You know, but I don't know. Whatever gives me more time off of work, awake, with daylight.
Yeah, that works for me. I just think it's fucking stupid. Like, we're not working out in the fields anymore. You know, the people working out in the fields are using fucking tractors now. and these combines drive themselves. You know, the combines drive themselves. You don't even have to get into them anymore. It's like that movie Interstellar where he's got it all set up. Like, that's real already, which is pretty fucking cool when you think about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, shit. As hard as the government's trying to get rid of them, I guess. Oh yeah. You know, more robots, more AI. That'll make it easier to shut them down.
Those combines can harvest bugs. I'm sure of it. All right.
Yeah, they're gonna grow the crops to attract and harvest bugs.
I got texts coming through. I don't think I can stop it at this point. If I like turn off the texts, then I think the whole thing's gonna fall apart. So we might be hearing Homer from time to time because, you know, we're in Bitcoin season right now, and we're just going back and forth. Me and my buddies, we're going back and forth. It's Bitcoin. That's the show now. You know what I was thinking today? I was like, you know what? Like, we're making progress, but you still don't own Bitcoin. So the beatings will continue until morale improves.
That's totally fair.
Yep. I will beat you over the head with it until morale improves and we have something on that wallet. But in all like reality, like, this is, you know, the last year Bitcoin's been down. It's been a bear market, but man, we got all kinds of news coming through. Who knows really what's going to happen with this thing? It's exciting. You know, it's exciting. You know, I was looking at something earlier today. I've been trying to figure out like how to read these charts. Like, some of these guys read these charts. And I was looking through this chart and I'm going, there's a pattern there. And I like traced it out with my pencil on my iPad and I sent it over to my buddy. I was like, there's a pattern there. Like, I don't know what that pattern means, but there's a pattern there.
Yeah.
And then later in the day, I'm going through Twitter and that same fucking chart is thrown up there with the same pattern laid out. And they were like, this is every dip is where the ETFs are coming in heavy. So essentially, like, what's going on is these ETFs are buying until they put so much upward pressure on the price that it gets out of control, and they're going to back it down a little bit and wait for a correction. And they're going back in hard. And like, we're having corrections every couple of days, but they're fast, man. Like, these are corrections to the point where you can't even utilize them unless you have stop gaps set up. Like, for me, if I wanted to go throw another chunk in at a price right now, I'd have to load it onto an exchange and set a stopgap because you just can't catch them. Sometimes it happens. It's like 5 minutes. You know, you go 70, 73 down to 67 and then back up to 70 again. And it's like 3 minutes. So it's like, you can't do that without a computer, you know?
Yeah.
So it's exciting. Well, let's get into some videos. We got some Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor had a great interview this week. This one went all kinds of viral. Let's listen to this.
Despite declines for Bitcoin today, MicroStrategy shares, well, they're higher. TD Cowen raising its price target on the stock to $1,560. That's $1,560 after MicroStrategy increased its Bitcoin holdings by another 12,000 Bitcoin. The total holdings about 205,000 now. Joining me now, MicroStrategy Executive Chairman Michael Saylor.
First off, this woman is annoying. Just right off the bat, she's annoying. I don't know. She's wearing like a parachute, like a bright yellow parachute. She's got weird hair and weird glasses, and she just has an air of smugness around her. You just look at her and you go, that woman would not give me the time of day, like, if I was her waiter. You know, she's the kind, like, I waited tables for 10 plus years, you know, so like when I look at people, I kind of like know how they would react in a restaurant setting. And that woman does not even want to acknowledge that I'm an actual person. Like, the only reason that I exist is to make your drinks and deliver your food and do it at the right time. Like, I don't want to be waiting. Like, I want my salad and my soup, and I want to eat it. And I don't want the chicken parm to be sitting up in the light while I'm waiting. Like, that's what I am to this woman. So right away, I don't like her.
Well, it's good to see you. It's been a little while.
Is it really good to see you? You think? I don't.
Thanks for having me, Julie.
So I want to start. I know that you're bullish on Bitcoin. I think everyone knows by now that you see a long-term store of value in Bitcoin. And you have said that you see it as digital property as opposed to thinking of it as a digital currency. So if you could help me understand, as you add more to the company's balance sheet, what the sort of end game is for those holdings on MicroStrategy's balance sheet.
And what she means, like, help me understand. That's not what she actually means. She does not want to understand. What she wants to do is come in and Michael Saylor came on this show and just got destroyed by some market managing host. Oh my, I think it's Yahoo Finance. Oh, she just destroyed Michael Saylor. That's all this is a setup. She doesn't care. She's not interested. It's not good to see him. Like, this woman she doesn't care about Bitcoin. She's looking for ratings. She's looking for numbers. She's looking to make a name for. I've never seen this woman before in my life. So she can't be too high up in financial circles because I've never seen Michael Saylor, Pomp, any of these other people. Like, I've never seen her face before. So I don't think she really wants to understand.
Yeah, well, we think Bitcoin is the highest form of property. It's the apex property in the world, and it's the best investment asset. So the end game is to acquire more Bitcoin. Whoever gets the most Bitcoin wins.
Well,
there is no other end game.
But Michael, I guess what I'm trying to understand is, so if I think of it as digital property, and I think of analogies, right? I think of a real estate company that buys property and holds on to other kinds of property. They may not be the apex, but whatever kinds of property. I think of an asset manager that buys all kinds of different assets. Eventually, they sell those assets in order to make profits. But I don't think that is your end game, right? You're not planning to sell the Bitcoin at any point. So kind of what is the purpose of it over time?
So wait a minute. The purpose of property is to sell it and make money. So what's the most popular show on TV right now? Take a guess. It's an easy one. Yellowstone. Yellowstone's the most popular show on TV by far, right? Yeah. And what have they done with that land? They've kept it for 100 years. They've kept it and they've sat on it because it's the greatest land in Montana, and there's just, you can't make more of it. You cannot make another one of those ranches. They just don't exist. So the thought, like, she's looking at it in the complete wrong way. I'm buying a house to flip it and sell it to make money. No. I'm buying the nicest ranch in Montana and I'm keeping it for 1,000 years. That's the difference.
Well, let's keep in mind the fundamental principle. What's the use case of Bitcoin? It's capital preservation. So if you have $1 billion and you live in South America, or you live in Asia, or you live in Africa, and you want the capital to last for 100 years, you're not going to want to buy $1 billion company or $1 billion building or $1 billion of land in any place in Africa. You're going to have to find some other form of property that you can hold for a long period of time. Let's take New York City. Developers of New York City in 1776 didn't have an end game. They've been raising capital to invest in New York City real estate at the all-time high for 300 years. If you went and talked to them today and you said, what's your end game? They would say, well, we're going to keep investing in New York City. If you've ever talked to a person that owned an apartment in New York City, no one aspires to hold the apartment for a few years, sell the apartment, and move out of New York City. They put it in their will, they give it to their children, and if you ask them why, they say there's no better place on earth to live than New York. There is no place up from there. So New York City
Yellowstone.
is the end game for people that want to live in the greatest city in North America. Bitcoin is the end game for anybody that wants to own the greatest property in the 21st century.
Well, I guess
It's kind of hard to argue. Like, what are you going to say to that? Like, New York City real estate, like the people who have owned real estate in New York City it's been in their family for generations. Like, people do not sell New York City real estate. I looked up for stats, and it's hard to find stats on shit like this because they're showing you different stats than you actually want. And ChatGPT was kind of useful, but again, not super useful. But like one of the stats I found, the top stat was that like people own New York City real estate an average of 15 to 18 years longer than any other city in the country.
Wow.
And that kind of makes his point. If you listen to Tim Dillon did a like a tourist show in New York City where you get on a bus, an open bus, and you drive around. And all he did was, see that apartment? 200 million. That one, 100, 80, 75. Who lives there? Nobody. Nobody lives there. All of those apartments are empty. They're owned by Chinese nationals or some fucking Moroccan prince or some, oil magnate in Saudi Arabia. They don't live in those places. They have them there so they can send their kids to college here. They can come and visit whenever they want, and they're going to keep it forever because why would you sell it?
Yeah. Yeah. The Saylor made some really like heavy comments,
assertions
about it. Yeah, about Bitcoin, and I know we're gonna get into a few more, but it's me being kind of extremely uneducated about the whole thing. Like, I'm just barely starting to kind of actually understand a little bit of what's going on, just barely dipping my toe into the Bitcoin pool, but you can't, like you said, you can't really argue with it.
And as somebody,
it makes sense.
And let's expand on that a little more. As someone, like, it's hard for me to put myself in your position because I was there years ago and I have no memory because I fucking blew myself up. So it's hard to, like, I'm a goldfish. It's hard for me to put myself in your situation. When you hear something like that, what is your initial thought? Like, this is compelling. Is this guy crazy? Like, what do you think about when you hear stuff like that?
Now, like, being right on the
quickly, let's take the price out of it. Let's say you don't know anything about the history of the price.
Yeah,
because essentially the price is a good enough point for people to go, oh, I can see that there's some utility to this. But like, as a noob, somebody that just doesn't know much about finance or money in general, like, it's got to be interesting to hear something like that.
Absolutely. Like, that's the whole reason I brought up, like, those concrete statements that he's making with, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no wiggle room about what his comments about the future of Bitcoin. Me being right on the edge of finally just starting to
the edge of the orifice.
What's that edge? The horizon of the event horizon.
Yeah, the event horizon.
Yeah. So me being right there, those statements only kind of give me a little bit more assurance, I guess, that it is worth it.
You got to think this guy's a billionaire. He's not just some Yahoo like me trying to sell you on something. This is a guy who started a very successful company making computer products, essentially, like making software. That's what they did. And just bought Bitcoin. And that's essentially what he does. And how many times do you hear billionaires come on and talk about shit and actually know what they're talking about and go, oh, this guy isn't just spouting some fucking bullshit talking points like Bill Gates. Like, sure, Bill Gates knows a thing or two about vaccines, but everything he says is like agenda driven. There's no like, this is what I know. This is what I'm good. Like, there's an agenda behind there. And surely he has an agenda too. His agenda is to get as many people in the world to buy Bitcoin as he possibly can. A, because it'll, enrich him, but B, because it's going to help people. It's going to make everybody's life better. When your neighbor is rich, instead of fucking clawing through your garbage every day, your life is a whole lot easier, right?
Oh yeah.
Let's get it to the rest of this. It gets better.
Yes, that is the case. But is there a price at which you would consider selling some of the Bitcoin, pulling out? So because you can do something
Pulling
with
out of
New
the
York City. You
orifice.
can live in New York City. You can have a business in New York City. What do you do with the Bitcoin besides it just gather value?
Well, the real estate developers in New York City, they're not buying the real estate because they want to live in it. They're buying the real estate because they expect
because
that
they
it's
want
going
to
to become
sell it
more
eventually,
desirable.
Michael. Let's be honest. Most of the people who are, yes, sure, some people pass it on to their children, but most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit. So
Let me say it a different way.
Okay.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, there's a name for them. We call them poor. Okay. Anybody that's rich in the world, they own property. They own large swathes of land. The royal family of England, it didn't sell all of its property in central London in order to buy, currency or paper money. Nor did the royal family of Japan. Nor did the royal family in the Middle East. In fact, they want to own the property forever. I want you to imagine Bitcoin is. It's a city in cyberspace that's 276 blocks wide, 276 blocks high, 276 blocks deep, about 21 million blocks. Now imagine all 8 billion people in the world want to live there one day. They want to put their capital there. There's $900 trillion of wealth in the world. As people migrate from every other form of property and they've assets into cyberspace, you're going to see the Bitcoin network go from $1 trillion network to a 10x that to 100x.
Yeah, 10x that to 100x that. They cut him off there at the end, but 100x that. This is the way. This is kind of one of the ways that I really enjoyed looking at it in the beginning. So think of it this way: he just laid out New York City. You've got 21 million blocks in New York City. Imagine every one of those 21 million blocks is an apartment building. And you can section that building off into as many units as you want. Imagine you've got a building that has 10 apartment units in it. So each 0.1 of your Bitcoin is an apartment building in New York City. Imagine you right now being able to go and buy, not even rent for a month, but buy an apartment in New York City. It's ridiculous. It's asinine. You could save your money for every dollar for the next 10 years and still not even come close to buying an apartment in New York City. So this is a way for, there's going to be a massive transfer of wealth with this. You're going to see fiat wealth, people who've gotten rich off fiat, people like Elon Musk, who just launched his big fucking rocket up into the air. People don't even look at that. Oh, it's so great. It's that's your tax dollars. He's not he didn't just build SpaceX. Who do you think is going to space? Who's paying him to use those rockets? Me and you aren't putting our own satellites up to, broadcast our show. No, it's governments. It's fucking governments. What are the governments using? Our fucking tax dollars.
Yeah. I was going to say, speak for yourself.
If he had to play on it, imagine if he had to play on an actual fair, open fair market.
Oh, yeah.
He would not be the richest man in the world if he was going to go and play around in space. That's for goddamn sure.
If every rocket that exploded was coming out of his pocket.
Yeah. And not ours. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's the way I look at him. He's a welfare baby. The guy has got billions of dollars that he has made on the backs of the American people. And now all of a sudden he's some fucking savior. Anyways, you remember that? Go ahead.
I I was gonna say, you said I'm not launching my rockets, and I would disagree, sir, because his rockets are shaped very, very similar.
I got a little bit of an arc.
It's
It's not so aerodynamic. It's the rocket. Do you remember last week we were playing Dave Portnoy? I guess it was a week before, maybe, and he said the Bitcoin memers are the best in the world.
Yeah.
And he was not kidding. Right after that interview came out, I'm shitting you not, like an hour after I watched it, I got this meme.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. Yeah, we call them poor. We call them poor.
That fucking made my day. That smug woman who brought him on there to you got butt slammed by this fucking woman. She is going to be immortalized as a meme for all of eternity. The only reason me or you will ever know who she is because she is a meme. Have fun staying poor. I fucking love it. I said that to my mom's husband while we were at dinner. And that was like the last thing I said before she messed it up. I was like, all right, dude, whatever. Have fun staying poor.
Oh,
it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I'm not proud of myself. Not proud of myself.
But were you wrong though?
Probably not. I mean, I was talking about this with my buddy TJ the other, like, Peter Schiff. He's so frustrating because he's right about everything except for Bitcoin. You know, he goes on, Bitcoin hits a new all-time high and then drops immediately, $5,000-$6,000, and he's rage tweeting, "Oh my God, a store of value can't drop that fast." By the time I read the tweet 2 hours later, we already hit another all-time high.
Huh.
What are you doing? If I would have saved all of my money since I got hurt, just the same as I had gold instead of Bitcoin, you know how much money I'd have? The same. I wouldn't have made shit. Gold went up like $100 the other day. You're not making shit. Like, he's not poor. The guy's not poor. He's got a retirement. He's doing fine. But you're just static. You're staying static. And if anything, just losing because of inflation. You're just getting fucking murdered. So it's not like he's going to be fucking poor. So it's not like, I will never be better off than him in my lifetime. I doubt. Like, I would imagine, like, in his lifetime, not my lifetime, but in his lifetime, I would imagine that I will never be better off than he is. Like, sure, Bitcoin's going to go up and I've got a good amount, so I'm going to do okay on that. But it's still not enough to, like, go buy some property or, do some cool shit like that. Like, I'm still kind of stuck where I'm at, but I'm not static. Like, I'll be able to go on vacations. When I get old and I can't fucking take care of myself anymore, I can sell this house and I can move into whatever home, old person's home I want to, and just fucking end my days out there. Like, and I'm the type of guy who that wouldn't bother me. Like, as long as I've got my own, like, there was a place in Cloverdale that was kind of like apartments, and they were that way. Like, they got meals delivered to them every day and shit like that. And they had like a recreation center and a pool and shit, like, where everybody could go out to. And that, like, I don't have a problem with something like that. I know a lot of old people don't. I'm not going to a home. Like, my grandmother's in bad shape right now, and she doesn't want to hear anything. Like, I think I would be happy to have somebody clean my shit and, like, I don't know.
And have your meals prepared every day, and you don't like. I mean, I'm sure it gets a little lonely. I mean, especially if you don't have any family nearby or visitors.
I'm kind of used to it at this point.
Yeah, that's also true. But I've put a little bit of thought into this, and my advice when you're looking for like a nice retirement home or something like that, you want to do your research and find the one that has the most STDs.
Yes. I knew there was something coming there. I was thinking, oh man, he's put a lot of thought into this. This is going to be good. I like it. I like it. Yep. If there's been an outbreak of gonorrhea in the past 6 months, sign me up.
Because those old people be fucking, man.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I could fuck an old lady. That's just,
well, yeah, maybe now.
Hopefully, I will also have enough for a hooker every now and then. That would be nice. I could go for a high-class hooker every now and then. Like, if I could get a live-in maid / hooker, I'm down with that. Like, I'll pay. I don't give a shit. I got an extra room at my house. Fuck it, right? You know, let's get creative here. You got an OnlyFans already. Let's just make it a weird OnlyFans. But here's some more Michael Saylor. Like, let's keep going. Here's some more Michael Saylor. If you look at it, the way he's talking, right, you got to look at it this way. Like, there's no perfect solutions to any of this. Like, you got to have your money out of fiat, essentially. Like, my money guy says that you need to have your money in unprintables, which essentially means commodities, real estate, property, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Like, I'm in gold, silver, platinum. I've got some stock in some energy companies in good areas. We're going after what are they? Data centers. You know, we're going to go into data centers in good areas where they're going to have cheap energy costs, because AI is not going anywhere. Like, it's not going anywhere like up. Like, we're not getting AI soon, but the whole craze, like, this is the new .com bubble right now, and it's going to be a bubble. Like, did you listen to Ray Kurzweil on Joe Rogan?
No. I don't know.
He says that we're going to have, and we're going to play this clip, but I wanted to ask Daniel about it first. He says that we're going to have AGI, artificial general intelligence, by 2029. And he says by 2029, you're going to gain a year and a half every year. So you're going to get younger as you age. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, who is he talking about? Like, what products are they giving us that is going to make us younger? Like, I think what he's talking about is, like, better medical technology. So if you get sick, it's going to keep you alive longer. But that's just a weird way of parsing it out. Oh, you're going to gain a year and a half. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm just going to be old and decrepit a little bit longer. Like, I don't think us peons, like, Joe Rogan's going to outlive us. Don't fucking mistake it. Like, that dude is going to outlive us. And good for him. You know, he made a lot of money. Spend it wisely. I guarantee you he outlives us. Dude will be 110, and we'll die at 80, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
80's
that's not
a
about
bad
that,
run.
too. 80's not a bad run at all.
Nope.
I mean, shit. I want to at least, you know, make it to 69. After that, I'm good to go.
Absolutely. 69 plus 6 or 9 years.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, here's Michael Saylor.
Printing money. Right? They're going to keep printing money, right? You know, you think we're tightening momentarily in the U.S., but they're not going to tighten in the rest of the world. They're going to print money in every single country. All their currencies are going to continue to weaken. You know, the Fed took us into a steep nosedive, nearly crashed the currency when they took the interest rates from 280 basis points to 180 to 5 basis points on the 1 year. And then they pulled up and they brought the interest rate from 12 basis points up to 470 basis points on a 1-year treasury in 12 months. And it's kind of like that strafing run in Maverick when the guy goes down in the valley, nearly crashes, and pulls up and pulls 10 Gs and just about rips the wings off the plane. And that's what we're doing, except we're doing it with the entire $500 trillion economy right now. And we've got to the point where the pilots are blacking out. Okay?
It's fucking terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. These people are like drug addicts. They will not stop printing money. They can't. You know, Joe Biden just put out his new budget. What is it? Where I have it right here. Hold on. No, maybe I don't have it right here. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. whatever. But his budget's like 7.6 trillion for this year. Obama's last year in office was 3.5. So we're double.
Jesus.
And that was 2017. Since 2017, we're double. We're at 34.5 trillion in debt. We're adding $1 trillion every 20 days right now. $1 trillion every 20 days. It's fucking ludicrous. It's insanity what these people are doing. And if you keep your fucking money in their system, they're gonna take it all. Whether they repo it for some reason, or they just debase it. Because they're not going to stop. It's just going to keep going. Here's Joe Biden in the State of the Union talking about taxes. He wants to print $7 trillion this year, and he's going to talk about taxes now.
The way to make the tax code fair is to make big corporations and the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share.
How many times in your lifetime have you heard that? Oh, all we have to do is make big corporations and the wealthy pay their fair share.
Yeah.
You would think as many
hundreds
times as you've heard it, you would think, well, they must have just never changed the tax code in my entire life. No, they change it all the time. They always are taxing these people more and more and more. It's just this is what you say. We need more. We want more. Yeah. We're going to take more. Give it to us.
And it always, to somebody that doesn't have the level of distrust as you and I do for the United States government.
Yeah.
People hear that, and then it's just that surface level bullshit. They're like, oh, yeah, the fucking rich people, they need to pay more, so I don't have to pay as much. But
if it wasn't for these evil, greedy, rich people, everything would be great in this country. It's all the wealthy's fault.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, don't pay attention to the old man printing $7 trillion this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only that, but why is that the focus of correction or making everything better? Why not make the poor people why not make the fiat poor people pay less? I mean, it's the flip side of that coin.
Remember 2020, 55 of the biggest companies in America made $40 billion.
And how the fuck did that happen, Joe? It's because you're a bunch of fascists and you fucking gave it to them for COVID. Oh, these greedy corporations made so much money. Don't mind that we fucking gave it to them for vaccines and PPE and fucking... Oh, how many of those plastic fucking windows did you see? What happened to all those fucking things? They just all got tossed out somewhere.
They're floating around the ocean.
Oh, these greedy corporations were just raping us during the pandemic. Can you believe it?
But climate change...
And paid zero in federal income tax. Zero. Not anymore.
Oh, I'm going to fix it.
Thanks to the law I wrote and we signed, big companies have to pay a minimum of 15%. But that's still less than working people pay in federal taxes.
So let's bring down what working people are paying in federal taxes. You take half our fucking money, Joe. Well, we're just going to take more from them because we're already taking this much from you, so it's only fair if we take it from them. We couldn't just lower it for everybody. That wouldn't make any sense at all. Why the fuck do we even have taxes if we're just going to print money like crazy? If you can print all the money in the world, what the fuck do you need taxes for? It's a social control mechanism. That's all it is. They can print all the money they want. They don't need our taxes. What are our taxes actually paying for? Nothing. Because we're spending so much fucking money that our tax dollars are salt in the ocean by the time they get it.
Yeah.
It's time to raise corporate minimum tax.
What's that?
That's why I'm debating on whether or not I'm filing my taxes this year.
I have a tax guy coming on the podcast tomorrow.
Nice.
He's a Bitcoiner and a tax guy. So I'm going to ask him. This podcast is for the audience. Tomorrow is for me. Sorry. I'm going to record it, but that podcast is for me. I am asking all the questions that I want to know so I can fucking skate the government on this shit. If you guys get some useful information out of that too, great. But I don't give a fuck if you watch it. I'm going to find some shit out tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out how to become what's it called where you like denounce your citizenship and you become like a national.
Yeah,
something.
Sovereign national.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a guy on what are they called? Fuck. What was that guy's name? I don't remember. But he was an expat. He was an expatriate. He lived in Mexico. And he was the guy telling me that he needed power ran to his property. And the electrical company quoted him like 20 grand, but the lineman told him he'd do it for 2,500.
So every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, massive executive pay when it's only supposed to be $1 million that can be deducted. They can pay them $20 million if they want, but deduct $1 million. End it now. You know, there are 1,000 billionaires in America.
No, there's not.
You know what the average federal tax is for those billionaires? No. They're making great sacrifices, 8.2%. That's far less than the vast majority of Americans pay.
Yeah, no shit. And most of those people don't have fucking income. That's why they don't pay income taxes, because rich people don't have income. They spread their money around. They have tax, offshore bank accounts. They have, like a lot of companies right now are getting into motocross. There's a new team called HBI right now, and they're a tax company. The guy does taxes for a living. He's like, I need somewhere to dump my money because we're making so much fucking money on this right now that the government is just destroying us. So we're going to, instead of giving that money to the government, we're going to do something fun with it and have fun in the sport that we love. So they have a team. Perfect. They're all religious. So it's all fucking pro Jesus, which I'm all for that. Like, I think that's a great thing to have in the pits compared to like what the pits were like when I was there.
Jesus is in the pits?
Yeah, Jesus is in the pits now. Back in the day, it was drug dealers were in the pits. Now Jesus is in the pits, which, like I said, I'm all cool for that. And they feed everybody in the pits every weekend. Like if you are in the pits, it doesn't matter if you work for a factory team or if you're a broadcaster, come down to our pit and eat. And all it is we don't want to give that money to the government because they're going to kill people.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's great. It's a fucking beautiful thing,
Yeah.
And I could only wish to have enough money to do something cool like that with it someday. There's another guy named Bobby Reagan. I don't remember what he does, but he owns Star Yamaha right now. Star Yamaha is like Star took over the factory Yamaha team. And he's just a rich guy. He's like 80 in his 80s right now. He doesn't have any family and he wants to die poor. So they have like 8 factory riders right now. Yeah. Maybe 10. I don't even know. They just signed another guy yesterday. It's crazy. Like they have 3 450 factory riders and they probably have at least 5 or 6 250 guys. And the guy's like, fuck it. I'm not going to die with nothing. Or die with all this money. So
yeah, whoever's
going to, fuck that. I'm going to spend it. We're going to have a good time. We're going to make a name for ourselves. Everybody is going to remember Star Yamaha. You remember? Oh man, you remember in the 2020s when Star just had all those fucking bikes out on the track and they were the fastest bike in the pits and they were just doing anything they could to win. And that'll going to be a story forever. The same as like Walty with Moto Triple X. No, everybody is always going to remember Brian Deegan ghost riding the bike on that Moto Triple X bike. It's just a story. It's there forever. So like, I think it's fucking great that these guys are doing something good with their money. Like actual good, not giving it to these stupid nonprofits that are going to waste it and steal it or any of these, religious groups that do the same fucking thing. No, motocross is a sport we love. There's great people in it.
For the people.
Let's make a difference in people's lives that is actually meaningful to me. Yeah. I don't give a shit what Climate Corps does with my money if they end up with it when I die. Like, who gives a shit? But if I can take some kid off the streets, like one of the guys they signed is Enzo Lopes' name. He's from Brazil. Great rider, just bad luck. And they signed him. He's like, yeah, give the guy a chance. Fucking let him rip. Like if he goes out and wins, you just change that guy's life forever. That's not stuff like we're going to stop doing a lot of political stuff on the show because I'm just getting so fed up with, like, there's no political solutions to any of this shit. You know?
There's a solution.
Buy
the
Bitcoin.
Final solution.
Yeah. Buy Bitcoin and improve the people around the lives of the people around you. Make sure that you've got a tight group of people, that you're doing the right thing, that you're improving the community that you live in, that you're giving your children a better life. Like, those things are far more important than what Joe Biden has to say in the State of the Union, because nobody gives a shit. Like, the tax thing, they're going to pay. It's not going to, like, they'll put it in, they'll figure out loopholes, and they'll say the same thing in 4 years.
Well, he's saying he's saying it right now. He say he just signed a bill, raised it to 15, but it should be 21 right now. I'm like, okay, well, why wasn't the bill that you just fucking signed 21 then? If that's what you believe.
It's the same thing with minimum wage. Why $20? Why not 50? Why not 100? If we're just printing money, what's it fucking matter, right? But it's a control mechanism. Yeah. All right. Well, there is somebody who knows. I think, God, I hope I sent you this video. I might not have, because I might have wanted to hit you with it. But I think we found somebody that might know less about Bitcoin than you. I'm hoping.
Oh,
here's Jim,
no, you said.
Here's Jimmy Dore.
Yeah.
Here's financial expert Jimmy Dore.
What is a halving?
With a gold
Is
bug.
that like when they split stock? They're going to split.
That's my understanding. Yes, they double the amount of it.
Okay. All right.
All
Look at that.
Double
when it was
the amount.
created in 2009 by.
It's inflationary now.
How do you say that?
Pseudonyms.
Pseudonymous. That's developer Satoshi
Fucking leftists,
Nakamoto.
man.
Bitcoin was programmed with a fixed supply schedule that is cut in half every 4 years.
Yeah. So in that instance, you would be reducing the amount in existence and causing the price to double.
So we
by
just
cutting
learning on the
amount
fly?
of quantity in half.
We're just going to go on a massive YouTube channel and talk about Bitcoin and just fly from the seat of our pants? Just know nothing?
Like you said, I knew more than that. I had to watch
We're just
that
gonna
video
figure it
twice.
out on the fly?
Yeah, I had to watch that thing twice because I was like, huh? Wait a second. No, that's wrong. Those are wrong.
Let's continue.
But so if I own Bitcoin, let's say I own 10 Bitcoins, and they cut the amount of Bitcoins in half, do they take 5 of my Bitcoins away?
Yeah, but the price doubles.
Oh,
Okay.
Ooh. So nothing happens. Dude, that's wild. Can you imagine? Like, dude, this is leftist economics for you. They just don't get it. They don't understand economics at all. Like, and we were talking about RFK with doing this, like opportunism. I don't think that RFK is a Bitcoiner. I think he's an opportunist who is using Bitcoin, and I don't think he really knows much about it. I think he's probably got a couple. Maybe 2 or 3. The guy's got millions of dollars, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a couple. But he doesn't have a significant portion of his net worth into Bitcoin. I think Jimmy Dore is probably the same. I think he probably bought a Bitcoin or two just because it's an opportune moment and it's something that they use on the show. It's in the culture. It's Bitcoin. Like, I'm just going to do it. Not going to learn
Bitcoin's
anything
so
about
hot.
it. Like, he's had we played clips of him and Max Kaiser on the show. Like, you would think, like, I wouldn't come on here and do this Bitcoin episodes if I didn't know anything. Like, we're just going to cover Bitcoin today and read some fucking art. No, like, I got to know a thing or two about what I'm covering. I'm not just going to cover some bullshit where I know nothing. The first thing we did when Hamas and Israel thing cracked off is we went and watched a history video because we don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we watched a history video. Like, it just, to me, like, clearly they know nothing about Bitcoin. Neither one of them.
Yeah.
Like, and can you imagine putting your money into something, like a significant amount of your money into something, and just knowing nothing about it? Oh, well, they might just take half my Bitcoin. And I'm just, but if the price double, like, that's the economic mindset of a leftist. Whatever. As long as it works.
Yeah. I'll
do it.
The real sad part is how many people watch that clip?
Yeah.
And
Thousands.
and actually, we're like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's how it works, What the fuck?
I would imagine that most of them are probably pulling their hair out like me, but I could be wrong on that. What do I know? You know.
Well, I'm saying
Dude,
the people
leftists
that
with economics, just they don't fucking get it. None of it makes any sense. That's why they're always screaming about the minimum wage and taxing the rich.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. You know, we didn't finish the Joe Biden clip because I had enough of him, but he was saying, if we do this, it'll generate $500 million in 10 years. It's like, we gave Ukraine $75 million last year.
I had that exact same thought when I heard that. I was like, well, wait a second. Ukraine?
It's so fucking stupid.
We could have had that much in our pocket this year.
We give that much money away weekly. But then you got the whole, if we just had that money, we could make America great again.
Yeah.
We just had that money from the rich people. If they weren't just screwing us all over, you know, it's capitalism's the evil capitalists. It's all evil capitalists. We need socialism. We need responsible people. It's so funny that like Jimmy Dore is great on everything for the most part. Like gets everything right. But you put the guy in power and things are just going to go to shit completely because he can say, oh, this is the problem. This is the problem. This is the problem. We'll just put good people in there and then it'll be fine. And then we'll expand. It's like, no, dude, you cut the head off the Leviathan, another one grows back. That's how it works. You know, you cut 2 off and 3 grow back. Like bureaucrats they're the same fucking way, dude. You throw them down, you feed them shit and toss water on them and they grow like fucking weeds. Bureaucrats, they're always going to be corrupt. They're always going to be idiots. They're never going to have a person who aspires to be a bureaucrat is just a worthless pile of shit. Hey, I'm going to go to school for 10 years to learn how to be a bureaucrat so I can rubber stamp something and steal tax dollars. You're a fucking sick bastard. Like, I hate that type of shit. Like, bet my mom works for Idaho Supreme Court and I shame her for it constantly. I do. I go, you should be ashamed of yourself working for the fucking government. It's ridiculous. Get a better job. And she's terrified to leave her job. At one point, like a couple years ago, she thought she might get fired because we won't talk about it on air. And,
good call.
You know, there was a situation, we'll just say. And she thought she might be looking for another job. And I was like, good. Get out of there. Like, that's dirty money. That's stolen money. You're living on the backs of poor people. Stop doing this. Like, you're smart. You're talented. Go get a better job and retire in 5 years. Like, I get it. You want to retire. Retire. I got to do my job. Get out of there. It's fucking evil. You cannot sleep at night. Like, she doesn't sleep at night. Ever. And it's because you're taking dirty money. Maybe you don't realize it, but like there's a part of your brain going, what you're doing is wrong. She got pulled into a class a couple years ago where the class was basically, if you're working in the Supreme Court and some asshole like me walks in with a pocket constitution, we're going to give you a class on how to send that guy packing. That's what the government does. Yeah, this guy with the pocket constitution who knows more about how this country should be ran than anybody in this building, we're going to send them packing and we're going to teach you how to do it. It's fucking sick, man. It's sick.
And they probably got paid a lot for attending that class, and they probably...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's fucking wild. Now I'm all fired up. What do we got? 12 minutes. Let's see. You want to hear... Since we were just listening to Jimmy Dore with that guy was a gold bug, so you know they're all about gold. Peter Schiff, he's a gold bug. Let's listen to this clip with Max Kaiser on Alex Jones about Bitcoin and gold.
We're already in the crash right now. They're just not admitting it.
Well, okay, I'll give you another example of missing the forest for the trees. When you talk about crash, typically in the U.S., everything is in U.S. dollar terms, right? The stock market's hitting new highs, but that's in U.S. dollar terms. Warren Buffett has the most cash on his balance sheet ever of $197 billion, but it's U.S. dollars. But if you were to price everything in Bitcoin, the stock market, commodity prices, Berkshire Hathaway stock, NVIDIA stock, Microsoft stock, if you were to price it all in Bitcoin, they're all collapsing against Bitcoin. Bitcoin as a pure price signal in the market is telling us something about the dollar, about inflation, and about global geopolitics.
And you're no, I agree. You're a former, we'll talk about Bitcoin coming up. You're a former silver and gold bug.
Alex has to call out gold because
Bitcoin.
Alex knows that the majority of his audience are gold bugs. So he has to do this. That's like, it's so frustrating sometimes with Alex because I can see what he's doing. He's going, 1 million people are listening to us right now. 75% of those own a ton of gold and don't give a shit about Bitcoin. So I have to like speak for them. So that's what he's doing here.
Going to go way above that when they finally admit inflation's out of control. But gold and silver, I expect it's going to go skyrocketing as well.
It's not.
No, because Bitcoin is demonetizing gold. And I can give you, again...
But gold and silver are industrial.
No, they're not.
90% of gold is hoarding of gold as a store of value. Very, very small percentages used in industry. Like,
so how did your mindset change? What was it, like 6-7 years ago? You got out of metals. You're just all Bitcoin.
Because I saw that gold was being demonetized by Bitcoin. So, and I'll give you proof of this. Look at the ETF market, right? The new exchange traded funds. The Bitcoin ETFs have launched less than a few weeks ago, and they already have something like $40 billion in the Bitcoin ETFs versus the gold ETFs. They've been around for decades. They've got 90 billion. So in 2024, the amount of money in Bitcoin ETFs will flip or eclipse the amount of money in gold ETF. That tells you right there in stark black and white terms that Bitcoin is demonetizing gold. People are dumping the gold and buying Bitcoin because it's better money.
All right, Max Kaiser.
Yeah, man, it's pretty fucking simple to see. The Bitcoin ETF is the most successful ETF in history. Gold is, like I said, it's gone up like $100 in the last couple of years. It's just not doing anything. And there is no excitement behind gold. Like, there is no gold conference in Miami where young hot people get together and fucking do coke and fuck each other in Lamborghini stretch limos. Like, that's not happening. You know, gold is fucking Julius Caesar's money when Cleopatra sucked him from behind. Like, this is old. It's fucking gone. Gold is for catching Donald Trump's shits, not storing your wealth. Gold toilet. That's where you're going. I had a little.
Now instead of I mean, there will probably still be gold involved, but I can't wait to see. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's happened. I just haven't seen it. But you're gonna see rappers with like a big gold chain with a Bitcoin wallet that says how many Bitcoin they have hanging on their neck.
It'll be like Thomas Massey's debt clock. You know, Thomas Massey has a debt clock that he wears every day that keeps track of the debt to the second. It's like a digital pin. He went to MIT, so he built it himself. Thomas Massey's a bad dude. All right. I wanted to find a clip for you just so I remember last week we were talking a little bit about what happens if the power goes out. And I kind of gave you the rundown, but I wanted you to hear it from somebody besides me because, as we know, I have no brain. I blew myself up. I can't remember anything. So who knows if I was right or not. I don't even remember what I told you. I think I got it right. Here's Michael Saylor.
Your hardened protocol. It's pretty much the most robust, resilient thing the human race has yet to invent. For example, it's running on tens of thousands of nodes. You can't even identify the nodes, and there's an identical copy of the Bitcoin ledger on every one of them. So if all of the electricity got shut off everywhere on Earth, and every computer failed everywhere on Earth for 10 years, the protocol just goes dormant for 10 years. And as soon as one person turns one node back on, the entire protocol comes back to life again. There's nothing like that, right? All your money in a bank and Bank of America can be wiped out with, a keystroke. You go and you wipe out a few servers. Your building can be wiped out with a bomb, right? Lots of things can be wiped out, but Bitcoin is the most resilient thing in cyberspace because it is so incredibly decentralized. If you took an entire country offline, that's irrelevant. In fact, We just saw last year during the China crackdown that China banned Bitcoin mining. They took 40 to 50% of the entire network offline. Half of Bitcoin mining was taking place in China. The network didn't miss a beat, not even for a minute. It just kept running, completely secure.
Barely even affected the price. Most people didn't even know it happened. And Joe Biden in his new budget, he put out a bill where he wants to put a 30% tax on miners here in America. And it's not going to go through. Like, there's too much power behind this. And states like Wyoming and Montana and Idaho that are pro Bitcoin mining, like we've got a new bill in right now that I don't really know what the bill is for, but it's a Bitcoin bill. It's like there was a bunch of flowery language in it that it was like they said a lot without saying anything, essentially. So I don't really know, but like we're pro Bitcoin, and I just don't think it's going to happen. And it doesn't matter if it does. If he does that, they'll just go to Canada or Mexico or wherever else cheap energy is. It doesn't fucking matter as long as you got cheap energy. There's one more video I've got here. Let me see if I can find it. I forgot to put it on my, here it is. I forgot to put it on my thing. I don't think you've heard this one, but hopefully you can hear it. And for people, if you don't know, Nolan can barely hear anything. He can't hear me. He can't hear the videos. His fucking internet blows, and he lives in a shithole. So we're just kind of stuck like that. So, it is what it is. Here's Michael Saylor.
Bitcoin is digital power. It's 350 exahash. That equates to $20 billion worth of computer equipment. And then you can value the energy. If it's 5 cents a kilowatt hour, you're getting to $5-6 billion a year. That's what it takes to run the network, but that's not what it takes to attack the network. If I'm a nation state and I wanted to block every message for the next 6 hours, I need to win the next 60 blocks. And that means I need to bring online 3,500 exahash of computer power. The problem with that is if I hijacked all of the Google, Amazon, and Microsoft computer power, I could maybe bring on 5 exahash. So you would need 2,000 times as much energy. That's all the energy on Earth. Doesn't work. You need 3 Earths. What government do you know that would want to spend a decade failing to attack something? It's much more likely that you'll just flip everybody in that government to support Bitcoin by the time they finish that.
Right.
Bitcoin.
So how about that? You need 3 Earths to attack the network. It's the most secure computing network in the history of the world. It's really an incredible invention. Like once you start to get it, and I hope I'll send you a link to it again tonight, but I hope you read some of or listen to some of the Bitcoin Standard and just kind of get an idea for what's going on. Because it's really a brilliant thing. Like, the amount of things that you would have to know in order to create it, which is why I don't think one person created it. There was just a court case today with a guy who's been claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto for a while, but they were like, no, you're not him. So you would have to know so much about so much.
So as we know, in especially military technology, the shit that gets trickled out to the public is decades behind what is actually readily available and usable by the United States government. So I guarantee the same's with AI. Was this created by some rogue AI that
Max Kaiser
turned a libertarian AI that turned libertarian and went rogue and created Bitcoin for the people?
Right? It's fucking wild when you start thinking about it like that, huh? Max Kaiser has a theory that it was created by aliens and that they gave it to us.
Yeah.
Because if you were going to do interstellar trade, you're not going to trade gold. You're not going to trade fiat. You got to send a fucking spaceship. So what are you going to send? You have to do it digitally. So again, like you said, you're first off, you're a libertarian. Makes a lot of sense. Because you just are. Whoever created it, you're just a libertarian. You just are. You have to know Austrian economics, computer coding, cryptography, and probably 10 other things that I don't even know.
You have to not be a cunt.
That they had to be an expert in. This is one of the key themes to my book that I'm writing is that like aliens are libertarians and we live on the fucked up world of governments, essentially. And like So the aliens give us the Bitcoin and we fuck up and destroy everything. And when we finally meet Daddy, Space Daddy, I'm like, so is there like, a galactic fucking federation that we got to join? He's like, no, this isn't Star Trek. Like, you can't have a fucking galactic empire. How are you going to manage that? So essentially, it's going to be like just a libertarian anarcho-capitalist galaxy where people trade, and I got a bunch of cool ideas. But it's so interesting when you first start the beginning of the Bitcoin standard. There's a really great story, and we'll get out of here on this about what are they called? Rye stones. So in the East Indies, this was probably 1,000 years ago. I don't remember, or not 1,000 years ago, hundreds of years ago. They had a currency system where they would get on these rafts and paddle their asses off for a couple of days, go to a different island, and they would mine these big fucking rocks. They were just big rocks. And then they would go and set them in the middle of town. And you would have a ledger. So each person that owned whatever portion of the rock, you would write it down. And that was it. That was your money. It was just sitting there. You could trade it. You just kept it on the ledger. And it worked great for hundreds of years until white people showed up. And they were like, this is an interesting system. Let's go print money. So they took their ships, which could, travel very easily, went to the island, mined a bunch of those stones with their white man tools that work way better than whatever the fucking islanders are using. And they showed up and, hey, look, we got 10 stones, so now we're rich. And they go, no, that's not how it works. That was too easy for you. You can't just do that. So they were just like, no, those aren't real. Those are not money. And they just did it. And that's Bitcoin. That's exactly what Bitcoin is. Just in cyberspace. It's fucking crazy, man. I like I said, the fucking beatings will continue until morale improves.
Hey, can we can we get a little another replay of that the meme?
Let's go out on that. I think we should go out on that. Absolutely. Yep, that's a good call. I was just getting to my thing.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay?
Okay.
I think somebody's going to donate us a Bitcoin off of that.